tell you what, one of the things you need to do if you really want to make it big into voiceover, etc., or even if you don't want to, do it. You know, you get a book like this, the one I'm narrating, Dark Visions, right? So the night before, or maybe a couple hours before, it takes time, but you got to do it. You say, okay, how many chapters am I going to read? So let's just say chapter 18. Okay, let's see how many pages it has. All right, it's good. You know, each chapter is about 4 pages, so it's pretty manageable, right? And what I do is I go over and give it a quick silent read, right? Skim read, quick silent read. And when I run across a word that I have questions about in terms of pronunciation, etc., I look it up. There's different sources out there, Macmillan, all kinds, even Google and YouTube. So then what I do is I go back, I take a break, go back 20 minutes later, and I do, but usually that's probably the hour before I start reading on the microphone. I go ahead and read out loud for like 20 minutes, which is usually, you know, slowly 2 or 3 chapters. Unbelievable. You know, just kind of read out loud and start putting the voices. And if there's new characters on the book and you have to put a different voice, then you start giving it sweeps. And then it doesn't catch you in fraganti, like we say, right, in Europe, in Italy in this case, which means like you're not caught offside when it comes to having to put a voice to a character, etc. I mean, if you work with folks who give you free range for character, voices, pitches, etc., boy, that's the best feeling in the world. You've got to warm up always, just like when you're going to compete or whatever. You've got to really do it and take a read. Just because you're a good reader, that doesn't mean that you should not do a pre-read of this stuff. Just like when you go into an audition room, they let you read the sides beforehand so you can become familiar with what's coming, you know. So same thing with this, because then as your eye reads, etc., you just go. I've done, you know, short stories, etc., where I barely read the previous, and all that ends up doing to you is that you have to do a lot of retakes, rereads, etc., and which is fine. You know, retakes are normal in voiceover and narration, but they make you lose a lot of time. You lose pace, and you know, it doesn't really impact a lot more than your time, but you're just gonna feel so much better if you really approach it with the 20 minutes before and the skim read the night before. So that's pretty much my advice. I've received in the last 6 months 2 or 3 messages about advice on voiceover reading. Hey Freddy, how do you do it? How did you get started? And you know, I probably can talk for hours, but I wanted to start with that piece of advice and make it into an Instagram video or YouTube video, and this way people can kind of jump into their own conclusions, etc. I mean, all you need is a computer, a microphone, and free software, Audacity. That's a perfect one. I still use it. You know, it's unbelievable. You don't have to start with an expensive microphone. You can start with a $40 microphone, and you can, you know, you may need some phantom power, which means that it doesn't plug into your USB of your computer. Fine, no problem. Phantom power microphones, I started with one, you know, and still have it back there. Don't use it anymore, but, or get one that plugs into your computer directly through a USB cord. Those are the most fancy and nice ones. Start that way, position your microphone in different directions. You've got to tune your microphone, see how it sounds, etc. And then you've got to tune your Audacity. And you know, if you're narrating audiobooks, you've got to go, instead of stereo, you got to go into mono narration, okay? And because that's the requirement for most platforms, that you do mono. Guys, My pleasure, Fred Moytaling. Thanks for following and thanks for sticking around. Getting ready for some rehearsal on TV series coming up soon. Very excited. I think this year is up to great things. And very soon I'm going to start doing my skim read on the next 3 chapters of this book, which I only have a few so far narrated, but I think if you just go step by step, be consistent about it, I think it's going to pay off in the long run.